moving on to our next session, that is Keynote Lecturers, I would like to invite our chairpersons for this session. So, following the respected chairpersons are Dr. Namrata Sharma, Dr. Rajesh Sinha, Dr. Partha Biswas, Dr. Arup Chakrabarti, Dr. Chitra Ramamurthy. So, I welcome all the speakers and the sessions and also the chairpersons for this session. I request the chairpersons to please unmute their mic and switch on their camera and start screen sharing, as well as to the speakers. So, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all once again to the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tanvi. So our first talk in this session is by our own president, Dr. Maipal Sachdev sir. His topic is Quo Vadis, career options for a young ophthalmologist. Maipal Sachdev sir is the chairman of Center for Sight, the chain of 5 hospitals in India, and he is one of the pioneers of phacoemulsification procedure in India. He has also won the Padma Shri Award for his contributions to Indian medicine. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Santosh, for this EyeShala, which obviously is a roaring success. And I'll be talking about something which is on career options before a young ophthalmologist is there. Okay, the first important thing which is not there in this slide is that it is never too late to change. And if you have got into ophthalmology by default, or if you don't love ophthalmology, I think there are enough and more options that are available in today's world that you can leave ophthalmology and do something else. So I'm not going to delve into that particular thing, but let me see that in case you are an ophthalmologist and you have finished your residency, then what do you exactly, what are the options that are there for an ophthalmologist who wants to pursue ophthalmology as a career and who has passion for ophthalmology. So as soon as you get the results for your exams, whether it be the MS, MD or the diploma, or you have the DNB, etc., there would be an initial sense of euphoria that you have. But then over time, you really set out to think as to what on the crossroads is available to you. You might feel a sense of loss, but what I will strongly suggest is all of you should look for somebody as a mentor. And a mentor-mentee relationship is something very important. Somebody who has spent more time in that particular domain, he knows or she knows, and they would be able to tell you more as to what you want to do. Now, the first and the foremost thing that you might have passed an exam. The kind of skill sets that are required to pass an exam may be something different from the skill sets that you need to kind of become successful. So the first and the only important way for you to decide as to what it is to sit down, relax, and do a self-assessment as to what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. You have to hone your skills. You have to actually take care of all your weaknesses and develop your strengths so that you are able to be successful. Now, as regards this, the self-assessment, what is very, very important is that you need to know whether you had the in-depth basic knowledge of ophthalmology. And you may not be able to diagnose certain, like, for example, if there is a tumor or something, I would say I can refer to Santosh or somebody. But if I have to look at ophthalmology, if 100 patients are coming into the OPD clinic, how many of them I can diagnose and what percentage? So because majority of them are common clinical entities. So how many of them you can diagnose? The next step after the clinical basics is how confident are you of your surgical skills? Whether you are aware of all the basic diagnostic techniques and whether you are aware of all the surgical techniques which could handle, say, 90% or 80% of the patients that are going to come to your center or your clinic. This is there. And how do you know, how much do you know about the latest advancement in technology? Because technology over time has taken a strong place and will keep on increasing the place in your practice that is there. Now, if you are dividing yourself in the self-assessment, if you are confident of what you have learned in that particular space, the 3 years or more that you have spent, then you are fine. But in case you feel that you are not confident clinically, then you have to opt for a comprehensive fellowship from a reputed institute, where you can see different types of patients, and you can have people who are really skilled in their field to be guiding you or telling you as to what it is. The second thing, similarly, the self-assessment that you have to do is that, are you confident of your surgical techniques? What are your outcomes? Have you maintained a logbook in your junior residency? I did say 100 cataracts or 150 cataracts. What was the outcome? What were the complication rates? What were the visual outcomes, etc.? And compare it with the documented rates that are there across the globe or across the world. If you are in this category of no, then you have to enroll yourself in a surgical training program that is there. Now, the next important thing, after you have gained or known these skills, whether you do a fellowship or a senior residency or whatever you want to do, you would then want to actually look at your future plans as to what are your future plans. Would you want to do a ophthalmology practice as a general practitioner? Would you wish to do super specialty training? Would you wish to do research work? And I think this is a dire need where you can actually excel, where the competition is not too great just now. And do you have inclination towards academic work? So these are the important things that you have to decide as to what it is. Now let's come to the first one, that is the practice option. So one is a solo practice that again has its advantages and disadvantages. The only advantage that you have is that you are your own lord and master of yourself. But I think adjustment, mutualism, having a collaborative approach is going to be the future. And when you are looking at the practice options that you have, it could either be, this is like I'm saying, it could be a corporate practice, it could be an institutional practice, or one more thing that you can write is a group practice. But getting a group created is the most difficult thing. Creating is one part of it, but sustaining it, and if there is a divorce, having a bloodless divorce, as I would say, that would be something which is very, very important. And solo practice is obviously one of the routes that you have. So these are the four kind of things that you can look at: solo practice, group practice, corporate practice, and institutional practice. And finally, there would be the government job. I would say that the government job, there are limited institutions which are great. Majority of the time, if you want a cushy life, or at times people do their own practice in a government job, that could be something which I am not made of, that kind of a situation where if you don't get kind of good outcomes or good equipment is available to you for a government job. And finally, you can have the NGO space where there is enough and more. You have the site savers, you have helpage and those kind of things. You can go in for an NGO that is there. Now, when you look at a solo practice, what I told you, the biggest advantage is you are your own master, but that is in itself a rate limiting step, or a biggest disadvantage, that you are on your own. You cannot master all the aspects. There is a limit to where you can be known as the last word in particular thing. That means that supposing today we're looking at oncology in India or in this area, the last word would possibly be Dr. Santosh. If you look at retina, maybe Dr. Natarajan would be for VR surgeries, etc. So you can only be a master of a limited field because the field is so well expanded that is there. And you have to be dependent for specialized service to the other people. So that is the biggest problem that you have in a solo practice. And you cannot keep updated with the latest technology. Very few solo practitioners have the ability to keep on reinvesting into the latest technology. And also you have a problem of financial and management issues which consume a lot of time and energy. I would say there's a lot of brain damage that happens when you go into these financial and these management issues as a solo practitioner, which is there. The second thing is for you to go on into a group practice where multiple specialties can be covered, and the infrastructure cost as also the equipment cost, the finances get shared, which is there between the group practice. And it is, the important thing is that it is challenging to find and associate with like-minded professionals. It is easier said than done that we can go into a group practice. So as I said, getting into a group, retaining that group, maintaining that group, and if God forbid you are not able to continue, how do you get separated? So that is the problem, that if the differences crop up, what do you do? Now, the third thing that apart from solo and from the group practice, third could be a corporate practice. Now, obviously, in a corporate setup, it is going to be different from, say, a government setup where at times mediocrity would be the rule. But in a corporate setup, I would say that talent is of value. So there can be differential. So in a government job, or if you're looking at that, if A person is an associate professor, B person is an associate, or you are a specialist, all the specialists would be in the same rank except for the 1,000, 2,000 rupees increment because of seniority that you get. But in a corporate practice, you could be drawing 2 times or 3 times the salary of another person, provided you are providing that value to that corporation as regards your skill sets, your prominence in that field, and the patient following that is there. The other important thing that is there is that you would have the opportunity to work with the best of the trade people. You can see the success story of several corporations. IR is the biggest success story in ophthalmology, that controls 10% of the ophthalmic practice of China. And they have grown successfully, and it has provided a lot of opportunities for people to work with the latest technologies. They purchased about 100 Vizumax or 45 or 100 Vizumax machines to be put across the entire IR chain, and now they have expanded to Europe and they've expanded to US. So corporations are going to come in because ultimately technology needs money to buy technology. The growth potential is obviously there. You can buy, you can enter a corporate, they can give you a center to manage, or you can do things, and there is the upgradation of the clinical skills which happens. Now, the next thing after the corporate, as I told you, is to get an institutional attachment. And that is, if you are academically inclined, you are good for research and publication work, you can be involved in various training programs and studies, and you can get into institutions like AIMS or LVP or maybe Shankar Netralaya, etc. So those are the institutional setups that you can have. Now, the next thing that I told you was the government job, where merit is usually not the thing. Once you get in, after that, there are promotions that happen with time scale, etc. It may not be very conducive to achieving excellence. There are few bright spots in the government service which are still there, but I think these are far and few that you have these bright spots. Technology acquisition is the biggest drawback at times. The HOD may not be having the skill sets, and the times these were stories, and these are things when we were residents. Even a slit lamp, the oculus would be taken out by the HOD in some medical college, and not resident cannot even use the slit lamp. So that could be a problem that you have. So if you are in government job, it can be transferable. You can be in one particular state, and you can be transferred within the state, etc. That is there. And obviously, as things stand today, there could be political, social pressure, etc. That is there. NGOs today still in India have space, but there are a couple of NGOs that are able to raise funds. The biggest thing is that there may be NGOs which may or may not be able to raise funds, but then you have to have the outreach programs. You have to be having a sense of going out in the community, because there are many people who are underserved, whom you might want to bring to the base camp approach that is there. It may not be the best approach for a growth potential, and there may be a lack of access to new technology that is there. So I think these are the various options that you have when you step out. But self-assessment is something which is very, very important. Knowing where you are, what you stand, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses is very, very important. And after that, what is most important is you have to ask yourself what you are doing today. Is it getting you closer to where you want to be tomorrow? So I would say that once you are stepping into something, just have a long-term plan, and the long-term plan blueprint maybe for a decade or 2 decades, where you want to think minimal. It has to be for 5 years that you need to think, if I am doing this particular thing, what do I want to achieve, where I want to be, what is it that is going to give me satisfaction in life, and this is my professional requirement for me to get for being a satisfied professional. And accordingly, you have to choose your career paths. I think in today's world, the career paths are increasing over time. There are enough good locations, institutions, corporations that are there. If you have to go into a solo practice, please choose a place where there isn't oversaturation of ophthalmologists, because that is going to be the tough thing to crack. Because the barrier to entry has actually gone up with lot of technology and equipment that is available today, and you have to spend few crores to be able to set up a practice worth something to be counted in the scenario of practitioners in that particular area. So friends, happy to talk to any one of you over time. You want to ask any questions, I'll be happy to answer. But there is the passion that you need to have to be successful, and for that you need to have the career options very well defined as to what you want to do. And I would say it isn't out of place to have an exposure overseas, because that broadens your expertise. You can go there for 3 months, observer, 6 months, 1 year, but that is going to broaden your horizon of thought as to what all you can think. You can start thinking big and dreaming big, and achieve a lot more success in your life than if you were within a cocoon or within a kind of a small sheltered environment that you have been throughout your life. And thank you very much for your kind attention. Yeah, Santosh.
Any questions, any of the panelists? Arup?
I just make a comment here. Santosh, is it okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Santosh, for having me here. I think Dr. Mahipal's presentation was very crisp and very to the point. But the last slide was quite impressive. But I just want to add up on something in that contents. Is, how far are you from your goal post, your eventual goal? I think you should have plan A, plan B, plan C. It is not always that you succeed in achieving plan A, then you need to think about plan B. So sometimes you do have a goal post and you assess yourself, you see the reality, see where life is taking you. Then you can always go to plan B. And once you go to plan B wholehearted, you'll realize that it was a decision which perhaps was better than you pursuing plan A. There have been a lot of people who have worked in private practice. Now they have joined institutes, and the reverse flow also has occurred. Corporate sector, highly successful practitioners, they have started off solo on their own, and they are doing extremely well. But I think you have to customize it, and you have to find out where you fit in, and then keep changing the process, maybe a goal post, and ultimately you will meet with success.
Yeah, Arup, I would 100% agree with you. I just gave a talk in the LDP, and the last slide there was adaptability. So that is what you are saying, that you need to actually be able to adapt and change, because change is the only constant, and I need the fastest adapter is going to be somebody who is going to be successful, because the scenario is changing very fast. And the speed of change is going to be faster. When we were kids or when we were youngsters, we had never heard of something like an e-commerce or something like that. And you can see that suddenly there is so much of this thing on digitization, artificial intelligence, on change. So you need to adapt and keep on learning. That is something as you go along, and that is going to be a cornerstone for success, being adaptive.
Can I say something? I think plan B should be there for some things, but for some things there should be no plan B. Because if you have a plan B, then you don't work for a plan A, and you know that there's an alternative there. Of course, there should be smile. Santosh is already smiling. But I feel for some things which you are very passionate about, and for some things that you really want to do, there should be no plan B, because that weakens your thought process. But I'm sure, sir, that has happened with you also. There was never a plan B that you want to leave RP Center. What will you do? There was never a plan B that you will make Center for Sight Institute, of research and subspecialties, etc. So I think for your main goal, it's difficult to have a plan B for what you want, but in between to maybe reach that goal, you can, divert here later. And
I think, yeah, you're right. One has to be alert, keep on getting the feedback, self-feedback. And, sometimes I've noticed in some situations, plan C has worked out much better than what plan A would have worked out for a particular individual. So I think being flexible and, being open to change, as Dr. Mahipal mentioned.
What you are saying is absolutely correct, and what Dr. Namrata is saying is also correct, because if you have the ropes and the strings attached, I still remember when I was to leave RP Center. At that particular time, I was told by people, and there was an offer for some senior ophthalmologist that you come and start doing phacos for us. I said, no, boss. अगर मैं आधी पौनी करूँगा, in Hindi you say आधा पौना, तो उससे कुछ नहीं होगा. So basically, you have to cut your ropes and then go wholehearted. Like if you have to learn swimming, they say just push the child in a swimming pool and he will learn. So I agree with that. That you need to cut your ropes at times to be able to be successful, because that's when you're going to put in your 110%. But adaptability, plan A, plan B, yes, that is also very, very correct. And plan C also, but we don't plan. That is the main thing. The point is to put a blueprint and a plan as to what you want to do over the next 5, 10, 15 years. That is the most important thing. Plan B is the second stage, but having a plan is what we don't do. We need to, as a youngster, plan our future.
Yes.
See, everybody is not Mahipal. And if you throw every potential swimmer into a swimming pool, he may die also. See, therefore,
you should know your limitations.
I just heard,
That was my first slide.
no, what I'm saying is there are a lot of youngsters who keep asking me they are confused whether to, pursue this aspect, government job, private job, or this thing. Guidance is this. Some people are very clear. Like Mahipal was clear as soon as he finished his, lecturer, and he said, "Mereko practice karna hi hai." So therefore, I started by saying, everybody is not Mahipal. Everybody may not be able to take a decision. Everybody may not have that backing. Everybody may not be so lucky to have all the technology at his heart. So that is the situation where youngsters are standing on a confused state, whether to do this or that. That is very, very important. What Mahipal would you advise them?
No, I told you that. I don't know whether you joined on time. I said that the is to do self-assessment. Karna kya hai, what you want to do, that is the most important thing. You need to see, in India, a failure is looked down upon.
Yeah.
If you are in US, being an entrepreneur means the failed once, fails twice, fails thrice, and third time successful. Like Arup was saying, that is given the person a plus marks, that he is a trier. So what I am just trying to say is, in the service industry or in the practice, your academic knowledge and your surgical skill have to be honed to an extent that you can make a difference and you can be a shade above what the rest of the people can do. So you have to clarify yourself at that particular time. I want to be a retina specialist. I want to be, today is the age of super specialization. If you want to be a general ophthalmologist, go to a tier 3 city. So you need to, within yourself, think as to what is going to give me the comfort and what is going to be my satisfaction grade. That is what you have to do. And ultimately, I have shared all the 6-7 options that are available for a person to go ahead and do that. Uska bent of mind kahan hai, that is the most important thing. Like you remember, writing papers was our, I would say, that is what we loved doing at that particular time. You were researchers.
Oh, yeah, I remember, epidemic dropsy, we wrote 7-8 papers out of that.
Yeah. And Santosh wrote about the diagnostic test for cornea, I remember.
That was my first paper.
That was his first.
And solar eclipse retinopathy, Dr. Lalit sir, would you remember?
I established a solar eclipse cell in RP Center.
Solar eclipse retinopathy.
Due to all respect to the doctors, if you don't mind, can we just move on to the next speaker? I request the chairperson to please call upon the next speaker. Over to the chairpersons, please.
And Dr. Namrata, the maximum number of citations that are coming now is on silver sulfadizine.
I know.
But if I go research gate, say every day that comes, there is silver sulfadizine is being quoted today for antifungals. So I don't know, it will certainly come back into the resurgence.
So Tanvi, none of the chairpersons seem to have the program. I think you call the next speaker, please.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah. So I request Dr. S. Natarajan, sir, our next speaker, to share his slides. I think.
Nati?
Dr. Natarajan, I think you are attending another session.
I guess he's attending on this session.
Rajan?
Shall I?
Yeah, Lalit, maybe.
I think we can request Dr. Lalit sir to give his talk. Again, on a very important topic. I think if I remember, it is in the COVID times, what happened, how to go about teaching.
Rolika, you can introduce her.
So
What AIOS can do for you. Okay.
Yeah, you see, AIOS has given me so much of happiness and satisfaction. So I think Santosh didn't ask me about the topic. He said you have to speak on this. So I don't know why, but I have a lot of passion for AIOS, for serving AIOS, even DOS we serve. A lot of people may not know that AIOS is one of the oldest societies, and today we are celebrating the 79th, annual conference. And it started way back in 1930. The current membership, although is running into nearly 25,000, and on an average, more than 1,000 nearly people join. It's very heartening to see younger people, joining and making a mark also. Like this time we have, you see, master ICs by youngsters also. Partho was presenting in the morning that one third of the ICs have been given to young people. That's a very heartening trend, I would say. Although AIOS has a lot of objectives, the main is to cultivate, promote science, and give away awards for merit, apart from social interaction. We have various wings in AIOS. All of you know we have scientific committee who are responsible for the program, then academic and research committee, then writer proceedings and journal. So what all we do at AIOS is huge number of activities. You see, Namrata Sharma was presenting in the morning. The number of activities today which are being done and what AIOS can do for a common member is huge. So therefore, I keep urging everybody who wants to become an ophthalmologist, please become member of AIOS first, because it can give you huge exposure to academic activities. You see, I joined AIOS for academics and later on was pushed into administrative part also. IGO Santosh and our presented report is a world-class journal today. The number of readership of IGO is going up and up, and very heartening to see the impact factor also going up. And you see, starting from 4 times in a year now, every month, the flip books, the case reports, everything is remade. If you do not, you see, believe me, why I opted for hard copy was because I want to read, because my travel time gets utilized in the, once I'm traveling from Delhi to Gurgaon, I will flip through pages and keep reading. Then AIOS News, which is published by headquarter, gives day-to-day information and keeps in touch with the members. So this is what AIOS can do for all the members of, and we only have life membership. We do not have, annual kind of membership. Plus, you see, whosoever is AIOS members, he can have huge number of awards. They are all listed on the website of AIOS. If you go there, click and Chairman Scientific Committee, this lists you so many awards. Academic and Research Committee has been, doing great job publishing CME series, publishing PPP series, and also doing PG teaching programs. You see this LDP program, PG teaching program, train the trainers, so many which are started by Partho and continued by Chitra Ramurthy also. And these proceedings, which till a couple of years back we used to have hard copies, but Arup has made a sea change. Every week you will have at least 2 or 3 mailers from Dr. Arup. You see, what he does is he will dissect subject wise, and then he will put it on the website for people to revise, and they become masters by seeing those videos itself. Although now it has gone digital, but we do not now bring out hard copies. But the job which Arup is doing is very, very educative and very, very important. The annual conference, it gives opportunity for, apart from scientific exchange, but also meeting great people who are doing wonderful job. You see, in a routine, conference, you may not be able to meet Santosh, Mahipal, but there you can have word with them and explore your potential also. Other thing which, in fact, I started with Dr. Azad was this FICO. The reason we started was You see, once Maipal only, when I joined Center for Sight, asked me, do you have any retina degree? Do you have any retina? So I did not. I just had MBBS and MD. So then I rushed to the RP Center and got seniority certificate from one of my teachers. So that, ignited his feeling in me. So I had, I went to ministry, DNB. We could not start MCH except for, in Bombay and Gangaram Hospital, which agreed for starting. But by and large, we do not have a degree course in retina or glaucoma. So that ignited me to start a super specialty kind of, fellowship program. And we used to conduct, this is Dr. Ahuja, who is conducting the examination of youngsters in subjects of their choice. And this is being continued till then. So apart from FACO by examination, we have FICO by nomination and selection, and Namrata today announced all these awards for the current year. Other very good thing which started was family benefit scheme. Although it's a separate scheme in itself, separate account, separate auditing, but open only for AIS members. So as of today, suppose anybody dies or whatever, but his family gets 23 lakhs, and this is much better than any other insurance scheme. Other thing which has happened is this hard copy, which in fact was started by Dr. Ramurthy, Ready Reckoner. He used to distribute this Ready Reckoner because it's a very sought after book giving practical, information of day-to-day topics. Another very important thing which I think Natarajan, credit goes to Natarajan here, that you see, when we attended American Academy, we formed an MOU with them, and one thing which they offered to us, to all our membership, was this ophthalmic O&E series, and also the BCS series which they bring out, they offered to us at a discounted rate. So if you're a member, you can have access to one network of American Academy. Through this, you can go to various journals also. The other benefit of becoming a member is that you can participate in so many award programs, travel fellowships. Last year also, you see, once I finished my term of Chairman Scientific Committee, we instituted huge number of fellowships, which will become practical from this year. Then Namrata also started with YouTube channel and education series, not only for doctors, but also for the patient. This is another useful addition which has started very recently. The other benefits for young ophthalmologists are also there, because for last 2-3 years, since the time Namrata took over, she has started concentrating on the potential of young ophthalmologists. In every conference, she will put a Geo Pavilion there. So website, I personally tell everybody, and I also keep visiting at least once in a week. Please visit AIOS website, and you will have a lot of information and from there. A lot of other benefits are there which are listed here. In fact, this is there on the AIOS website also. These are again, you see, other thing which is very important is, which is listed lower down, that you can participate in the election process and you can become a leader also, as was being told by Namrata in one of the LDP programs. You see, you can become a leader by participating, and you can start coaching people. These are various awards which I thought I will just share. The category of awards are general awards for which people have to apply. That is, ratified people have to apply. And this list is 11 awards are there, and frequency is also listed here. So members can apply. So once you become AIOS member, this is what AIOS can do. You can have, you can apply for these awards. And for the best of the best paper gets the best coveted award is Rangachari. Other category of awards are specialty awards, which are 18 in number. And these are, because we have broadly 18 specialties in AIOS, and they are all listed here. These are for papers read at the conference. The previous one was people have to apply. Here people are judged by the panel of judges, which will happen this year also every year. These are 18 category of awards which people can have. And then we have awards virtually in all the categories. Even for posters we have awards, and these are the various poster awards. Again, 18 categories of physical this poster can get awards. These are 18 categories. Then video awards also are given every year. The best of the best video gets CS Reshmi Award. And the other thing which I had introduced was poster podium, because the membership of AIOS is increasing so much. Everybody is so ambitious. Everybody wants to have a podium presence. So at the behest of Namrata Sharma, she introduced me to this. We started PPP awards, and PPP awards again are given in 18 subject categories. Apart from this, AIS offers a lot of fellowship program. They can finance your travel to US, Europe, or even in AIUS. That can be also done. Very important thing, the presidential committees which every president forms, there's a legal cell which AIOS has. And this becomes important once you see any member faces crisis, something like cluster infection. So first thing you should do is to inform AIOS so that they can have good guidance from the legal cell. You see nowadays attacks on doctors, medical receptions are increasing. And court cases, consumer cases, they are there. So legal cell comes to your rescue in a lot of these cases. Family benefits scheme, I already told you. Presidential committees, so many committees are there. All of them present reports at the meeting, and they help you to like advocacy committee if you want some information. Like trade relation committee, you see if any member has grievance that any company is not offering his services post his sale, then you can approach trade relation committee and they will help you out. In fact, Dr. Ramurthy was the chairman of this committee till now. He solved all the problems which were there in the last year. So then we have a lot of other committees which are all listed here, where the members can approach to have. So in the end, I would just like to say AIOS can do a lot of activities for you, for all the ophthalmologists who are members. So therefore, I urge all eye surgeons to become life members of AIOS, and believe me, let's all strive to make as the best body so that we can participate and we can have presence not only in India but all across the world. Thank you very much for your kind wish.
Excellent talk, sir. I mean, coming from you who's seen it all right from its inception, where AIOS was in a single room in RP Center on the first floor, to a 5-story building, headquarter building now. I mean, we've come a long way, and thanks to you and all the predecessors and all the people who worked hard to get that single room into 5 floors with such a big office and such a big 5-floor building with such a vast area. I think we are really proud of AIOS, and thank you so much, sir, for it and all the other.
I had one slide I forgot to put, because I started my life in AIOS in that room what you are mentioning, room number 111, which could not seat more than 3 people. So whenever I had to go there, Gupta ji will stand and then I will sit. That was the place where I started my journey in AIOS. Now as you are saying, we have a huge facility for AIOS, because every time whenever in general body, this statement used to hit me very badly that we are the second largest society in the world. But you can't compare American Academy with AIOS, because American Academy has 165 people. You see in San Francisco, once I attended, I went to their office and there were 165 people working round the clock, and we had only 3 people for working. So that is the reason. That is the reason me and Harbanslal built up this headquarters after having permission from general body, that we will have a permanent abode for all the ophthalmologists of this country.
I think
Dr. Lalita, it was a very compact and very educative capsule. I just want to supplement it with information that now the focus is on going digital.
Yes.
You mentioned a lot about hard copies, but
No,
for example, for example, there are about 350 papers which are being presented, and each paper, let us say, comes to about 10 pages. 3,500. So it is a very huge burden to the society, and so everything has gone digital. And pen drives again have a limited capacity. They're more expensive, and they don't hold much data. So we have all taking care of online facilities of the online features, websites, and various YouTube channels. I think there has been slight shift in the last 3-4 years from what
absolutely correct, Arup, because if you notice, all my slides had hard copy, and the red in the bottom I load that in last 3-4 years we have gone digital now, and that not only has huge potential but saves a lot of money also, as you rightly said.
So this has happened only in the recent past. In fact, COVID forced us to do it. Otherwise, we were still sending hard copies for almost everything.
There are some positive aspects which COVID has taught us, that education, this can definitely become. And like Arup was saying, the IGO, like, we used to, Santosh used to send hard copies every month. But now hardly, how many copies Namrata is he sending now?
3,000 Lalit.
3,000 only.
3,000.
So not only he has saved huge amount of money for AIOS.
Not only that, I mean, it is an opportunity for when I'm traveling, let's say, and I don't have access to IGO hard copy, and I can, on my smartphone itself, I can access using any keyword, any article or any interest for subject that I have, interested in.
Absolutely.
So Lalit, you should not also forget P4.
What?
P4.
All the four.
Yeah. P4, I remember P4 because when Mahipal was chairman of scientific committee, that is what I think. Mahipal, am I right? Yeah. P4, Mahipal was chairman of scientific committee, and every evening he will call us. P4 pe aajana, Green Park. So that was in the top floor terrace when he started his journey as chairman of scientific committee. Believe me, we never used to have all these computers and all. And then Matthews was there, Mahipal.
Dr. Tiwari, you and Dr. Tiwari used to come because it was both chairman scientific committee plus I think the AIOS conference.
Yeah. So every day, we used to go there and all the papers were scattered and we used to, work on this making the scientific program.
So partly your term was in RP Center and partly in P4 because I remember partly coordinating the same from your RPC office and then you left and went to P4.
He was totally in RP Center at that particular
Totally
time.
in RP because I remember making the program, writing it and making the program.
But Mahipal would remember, everything. I will ask Mahipal, ये Dr. Keki, oh, पीछे देखो, वहाँ Keki का talk है उसके अंदर. So he'll remember everything.
Good. So in any case, I think AIOS is a body that all of us should join, and it is something that is for the collective good of everybody. There's a lot of learning, education, opportunities, and in strength, our strength lies in more numbers, and we need to kind of use that even for advocacy with the government for various policies.
And I think when Lalit was secretary, I was insisting why you should join AOS to the non-AOS members. Maybe Namrata can do as an electronic now, something like an e-brochure for ophthalmologists who are not members of AOS, so that if you join AOS, all these benefits can be put, including the ONE network, where you get 8 international journals and other.
Nowadays, there are a lot of benefits, but when I was secretary, we used to put one standee in all the conferences.
Yeah, yes.
Standee had 23 benefits, I remember.
Yes.
So we had made 3-4 standees, and Kirpal and Naveen was there, used to carry it at all the conferences and try to make members there.
So Natarajan, your talk was next.
Yeah, okay. So then I'll start.
So Rolika will tell us the topic of the talk. Rolika? Unmute yourself, Rolika.
So I think
Sorry. Moving to our next speaker, Dr. S. Natarajan, sir. He'll be talking on lead or follow. Choice is yours. And Dr. Natarajan, sir, is our past president of AIOS. And he is a vitreoretinal surgeon and chairman and managing director of Aditya Jyot Eye Hospital at Private Limited in Mumbai. Welcome, sir. We are looking forward to your talk.
Thanks a lot for this, and thanks Santosh for having me in the EyeShala resident education. My topic is to lead or to follow. Choice is yours, and that's what I'm going to convey. So I thought I'll compare this with a transform and lead the way. And I've taken life lessons from the infinite wisdom of Kung Fu Panda and my life. I had a fellow, Dr. Rishi Bharadwaj, who's now practicing in Gurgaon. He said, I have to see this movie because I'm the, he said I should become like Kung Fu Panda. And then the notorious COVID-19 pandemic has brought the world to its knees. Being surrounded by uncertainty and extended lockdown has its own effects on every one of us, especially us in the healthcare fraternity. And I decided, and that time only I saw this movie, that's last April. Don't worry, though we are all in this together. So this movie, all of us should see. You must believe, way to Po Kung Fu Panda. You must believe, that's what he says. And what can we do to make a difference? We have the power to choose how we are going to react to our predicament. This is an opportunity to reflect, learn, and grow to be a better version of ourselves. Let's explore some valuable lessons which our friends from the movie Kung Fu Panda have taught us while comparing the same with some lessons from my own life. So this is the Dragon Warrior. The movie is about Po the panda, the fun-loving, happy, adopted son of a duck who owns a small noodle shop. I'm like fun-loving. Po dreams of achieving great feats in Kung Fu and being a part of the Furious Five, the best Kung Fu team in China. Next year, the China conference is in Chengdu, which is the hometown for the Panda Bears. As the movie progresses, Po is chosen to be the Dragon Warrior by the wise master Ugwe, a fat panda, Dragon Warrior. No one believed in him and thought Master Ugwe was wrong. People discouraged him, and yet he undertook the arduous journey, which rewarded him the title of the Dragon Warrior. The same thing happened when I joined Dr. Badrinath. I was not even knowing whether I will be a veterinary surgeon, but he was more confident and said, "You'll be a great veterinary surgeon." I don't know how we found that. I was born in Madurai, and then that's me with my father and mother, and that's with my grandmother and grandfather. And you can see I'm put this slide because my mother is carrying me in the photo below, and then the above one, I'm wearing tie from my childhood. And the real warrior never puts this, me and my brother. And lesson number one, which is my favorite thing, which is a spiritual lesson I learned from Swami Sukhapadananda, is yesterday is history, just forget it. Tomorrow is mystery, just nobody knows, not even the astrologer. But today is a gift. And in English, that the present is in the present tense in the grammar, and present also means a gift. So this moment is a gift to all of us. That's why it's called the present, and that's what the Ugwe teaches. And don't dwell in the past. Don't think about the future. It's full of uncertainty. And Grandmaster Ugwe says, look at this tree. I cannot make it blossom when it suits me, nor make it bear fruit before its time. No matter what you do, that seed of peach will grow to be the peach tree. That means you want to be MBBS, you have to take 5 years. You want to be a MSN ophthalmology, another 3 years, a fellow, another 2 years, and you want to be a great veterinary surgeon, you have to follow Malcolm Gladwell. You have to do 10,000 hours. So I think that's what you become an expert. And what you have is this day, this moment. Seize it, contemplate, meditate, self-evaluate. You will emerge as a stronger and a more powerful version of yourself. Never think of the past, it brings tears. Don't think of the future, it brings fear. Live this second, it brings tears. And these are the Brazilian girls. And then lesson number 2, there is no easy way to mastery. And I also would recommend to read the book, Mastery by Concise Mastery by Richard Green. It took Tigers 20 years to develop fists of steel, 20 years of practicing Kung Fu and punching iron trees. All of us are surgeons here. It took time for us to become a master. Mastery is all about developing healthy habits, which will raise your chances of becoming successful. But that takes time and perseverance. So I follow that 5P, perseverance, persistent, patience, prayer, and precision. Use this extra time to develop a skill and perfect it. And the Shivkera, I attended his course, and he says you cannot be perfect because you can only aim at continuous improvement, no perfection. And if you are trying to be perfect, you will become mad. No shortcuts, only practice. And my guru, who made me a master, Dr. Sengamedu Srinivas Badrinath, the chairman emeritus, and he is Adi Sankaracharya message he follows, not by penance, not by visiting holy rivers, not by reading scriptures, not by chanting mantras, but by only performing selfless service to humanity can one cross the ocean of life and still Shankaranathala land the #1 ophthalmic hospital in the country. The mark of a true hero is humility and Master Shifu. And this is what my fellow wanted to teach me, because I was shouting at fellows and you didn't do that. He says, you learn from Master Shifu. And somehow I didn't understand what is Master Shifu and Kung Fu Panda. The lesson number 3, if you only do what you can do, you'll never be more than who you are right now. So if you want a different result, stop doing what you're doing right now. Dare to be different, dare to go out of the box. You do not have to follow the crowd. If you do want most people to do, you'll get what most people get. Hence, think outside the box and be different. Your mind is like this water, my friend. When it is agitated, it becomes difficult to see. But if you allow it to settle, the answer becomes clear. And this is the truthful answer of this movie, because you will climb 3 floors high in the ceiling and then see the water below and see this. You can see the Dragon Warrior seeing that. There is no secret recipe for success. Your mind is like water. And on self-reflection, you have the power to respond proactively and find solutions in any situation. You have no limitations in life. The only limitation you have are the ones you place on yourself. In these times of uncertainty, No, one needs to focus on growing from challenges and turning stumbling blocks into stepping stones. That's what I said during COVID. I gave a talk, COVID-19, happy times. Lesson number 5, to make something special, you just have to believe it's special. And I think I keep repeating this every time, and even when I was in the GC and now also, you need to believe that you are so special so that you will be able to tap into your full potential. The most difficult but most important person you need to convince about your abilities is yourself. So you are the villain for yourself or also the hero for yourself. There is no secret formula or ingredient which you learn for success. It has always been you, and it resides within yourself. And this is what Mr. Pink says. This is actually, I came from a disciplined and traditional practice. The Chalta Hai attitude in Bombay, when I came in 88, did not do a whit for my ethical sense. One day, a chairman from the Bank of India was impressed with his wife's surgery. He said to me casually, "Why don't you start your own practice?" I said, "How can I do?" He said, "If you have the guts, my technical team will give you the loan." And that's how the Bank of India gave me the loan. And I started Aditya Eye Hospital. And I still remember in the open air, Maipal and Lalit coming and sitting and discussing. And that's the time in 2004, then I moved to the new place. And that's how there's an old building where Dr. Badrinath is inaugurating with the then Sheriff Nana Churasma and Gulapalli Rao, which was a residential complex. I converted 3 flats into a hospital and made this symbol. And at 21 years, I actually changed the symbol again. Lesson number 6, you must let go of the illusion of control. And in December 2019, if someone had told you what 2020 would be like, you might not have believed it so easily. Life was all planned out, right? I was in December 2019 in China, in a place called Jinan, where Confucius was born. There's a Confucius temple. And I also went to a place called Haikou. And then at the height of Corona there, and I'm glad I'm alive. Nothing is in your hands, but your positive thinking will save you. Living under the false impression that everything can be planned out perfectly and panicking when the plan goes wrong is one of the biggest mistakes you can make in life. So never panic. Just go with the flow. That's why I could go to Kashmir and do vitrectomy surgery and understand that your life will take you down the winding path, which will ultimately lead you to your destiny. Trying to control it is futile. And lesson number 7, get ready to dance with danger. And I do that. And I think I don't have any fear, whether it's Kashmir or whether it's Assam when Ulfa was there, whether LTT in Sri Lanka. And I think I've been everywhere, whether it's in wherever there's a conflict area. And I think get ready to dance with danger. Generally, I dance, and I think dancing with danger is not a problem. In order to become the successful person you want to, you must learn to level up yourself through the hardships that are there to test you. Main thing is I don't call it hardship because I enjoy that path, that how it makes you. But if you have the passion, you don't feel it as a hardship and you don't feel it as a hard work. Understand that failure, rejection, setbacks, and challenges will come. Learn to dance with your problems and not run away from them, and learn from your mistakes and failures. Einstein says, you make mistake, but every time make a new mistake. He says it's very difficult to make new mistake. You make the same mistake, you become an idiot, he said. Never give up and keep moving forward. And the dance of Nataraja, this is a chapter in Swami Sukhavananda's book of life. And well, how do you dance like that? And your dance for happiness, you will not get happiness. So at the outset, dance with happiness and maybe dance out of happiness. And that's to say, do not dance for happiness, dance out of happiness. And this is a picture when I was one of the highest taxpayers in 2005, along with Naresh Trehan and 4 other surgeons. And one ophthalmologist quoted in the Times of India national issue, and I myself couldn't identify this picture because I was in the disco. He took photographs from morning to night and put the picture in the disco when I was there. So lesson number 8, your real strength comes from being the best you can be. Who are you and what are you good at? What makes you and you? And this is what Swami Ramana Maharshi says from Tiruvannamalai. You question yourself, who are you and who am I? And that's how you'll find out. You have to have layers of layers. You may say, I'm Natarajan, I'm this, I'm that. All that is designation or post. But who are you is ultimate, which you will know spiritually one day. Your strength comes from you doing your best you. In life, you can only produce a remarkable result when you become you and do your best. You must first find out what you want to be and what you are good at. If you want to be an expert and a master, first understand your greatest strengths and do what you do best. And this is in the management, the SWOT analysis, the strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. And this is how successful people create extraordinary results in life. And lesson number 9, you are the master of your destiny. Same thing Swami Vivekananda says. He says, showing the 5 finger, you create your destiny. No one and nothing can come in between you and your destiny except you. Take destiny by the horns. Take the bull by the horn and have fun. So Dr. Badrinath taught me that 99% hard work. I converted that. 99% work with passion and 1% inspiration. You will be the master. And then and constant inspiration for me, Swami Vivekananda, whom says, stand up, be bold, be strong, take the whole responsibility on your own shoulders and know that you are the creator of your own destiny. And then no one can decide how you live your life. Stop making excuses for the bad things that happen to you and own up to the fact that you are the only thing that is holding yourself back. I recommend the book Magic of Thinking Big by David Shad, where the 2nd chapter says, cure yourself of the failure disease called disease of excusitis. You keep on giving excuse. I'm old, I'm young, I'm diabetic, hypertensive, I don't know how to do. All excuses, stop it. All allow yourself to grow those wings and soar up in the sky where you are meant to be, like how Jonathan Livingston flies beyond his height. Start having fun and enjoying every minute of your day, knowing that it is taking you one step closer to your destiny. Enjoy moment to moment. Joy 24/7. And when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it, which is there in the book Alchemist by Paul Coelho, who's a Brazilian author. These famous words were also adapted on the Hindi movie Om Shanti Om. कहता है अगर किसी चीज को अगर दिल से चाहता तो सारी कायनात तुम उससे मिलने की कोशिश में लग जाती है. And this is what he says in the 2 parts as a one birth and second birth. Whatever it is, whatever you want. I think whatever I dreamt, I want to be an internationally renowned ophthalmologist at the age of 8, and I became. And I think it's not automatic. Lesson number 10, embrace your awesomeness. The power of positive thinking affects your action. I just learned from Namrata in the other presentation, law of attraction, law of destiny, law of so many things she taught. I have to read that. Po the panda demonstrated that by letting go of his self-limiting beliefs, he was able to become the dragon warrior. You have the power to determine your mindset, regardless of outside influences. You can't change life's events. However, you can control how you respond to them. So, Po the panda was fought. Everybody said, "Are you're not, you're fat, and how can you be a dragon warrior?" Same thing for me also. You don't know Hindi, you don't know Marathi, you don't know Gujarati. How can you practice in Mumbai? And you don't know anybody. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anybody when I came to Bombay. Now I have mentors, friends, everybody. So when you focus on the positive, the whole world opens to you. And that's what Mumbai did for me. So I thank Mumbai and Maharashtra for that. Have good intentions. It's a game changer. Tai Lung, the villain in the movie, was thought to be promised dragon warrior. Although he was far better at Kung Fu than Po, Master Ugwe saw darkness in his heart. Po has always been pure-hearted and never had evil intentions. So this is there in the book Secret by Rhonda Byrne, which was a bestseller in New York in 2007. But this is there in 1,000 years back in Sanskrit. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. So, thou shall be in Bible. You become what you think. World is manifestation of our inner state. Perceived reality eventually becomes manifested reality. We perceive a thought containing a chain or emotion. The process of creation is set into motion, and arrow has been released into ethereal planes or thought sphere. Just a simple example, the Government Eye Hospital Madras was formed in 1819 as the second eye hospital in the world. And 2019, I have the opportunity to celebrate 200 years in Indore as the president. And thanks to Namrata, also we replicated 1919, the first ophthalmic museum in the world, which was started in 1919, Elliott School of Ophthalmology at Indore. Thanks to Dr. Namrata again, we started a Elliott Museum. It's all Yad Bhavam Tad Bhavati. You become what you think. So whatever you think will happen. But if you doubt it, you cannot. And I remember still when I said Aishwarya Rai is coming and she's the brand ambassador for Aditya Jyot, everybody asked me, how will she come? I said, you have a doubt. I said, she will come, and she came. And I remember Patnaik comment, I can imagine Natarajan, every paper covering, how come Punjabi Kesari has also covered it? That's because Aishwarya herself wanted to cover that. So lesson number 11, the final lesson of the Kung Fu Panda. Your story may not have such a happy beginning. I don't know. Everything, whatever happened with the problem, I call it happy. But that does not make you who you are. It is the rest of it who you chose to be. I was criticized in school, medical college, but I enjoyed like Charlie Chaplin or that Mera Naam Joker. Marna hai Jinaiha. So whoever criticizes you, take it happily, smile it away. And I think I thank my Dr. Ashia Nenarayani who helped me to prepare this, Dr. Aishwarya Iyer, Dr. Dishita Rathod, Abhishek, and from Jammu and Lakshmi, the previous secretary, and currently the two fellows, Aishwarya Iyer and Dr. Sandhya, who did it. So to answer the title slide, that whether to follow or lead, first follow a mentor, take a good mentor. Even the guy, the Usain Bolt, you should see his YouTube video of his mentor talking about Usain Bolt. He says Usain Bolt will do whatever was given as a homework by the mentor. And what was the homework? 50 kgs was tied in one leg and 50 kgs in the other leg and said run. But can he run? No. But he dragged it 100 meters, and that's how he was the world champion and world's fastest runner, maybe the fastest runner in the earth. And that's my team. I'm always thankful to my both foundation and Aditya Hospital for allowing me to lead them. Many times I follow. Today, during the leadership program from Dr. Chitra, Namrata, Anaga, Lalit, Mahipal, I learned a lot. So this is Master Shifu, and I didn't understand when he said, Kung Fu Panda, you see, because he always said, everything is there with you, sir, but you are searching outside. And I think that's a mistake I was doing for 6 years. Thanks to this Corona, I saw this movie and I could relate it. And I'm happy I saw that, and I recommend everybody to see this movie and enjoy. So follow and lead. Thank you. And I hope all the youngsters, I want Dr. Rolika Bansal to either criticize me or comment.
No, sir, I loved it completely. Very well put, sir. Really enjoyed it, and I agree with you completely, sir.
My senior Rashmin Gandhi is here, my boss. He looks like the evil Brenner, no? Rashmin.
Nati, it was such an inspirational talk. All these quotes which you keep quoting everywhere, they are required in a repetitive way, because most of us humans, get astray in our usual path of life. So what I would request is, every few, weeks we need to hear this, all of us, including myself. Then only, maybe, we are on the right track. But all these great people which you have quoted, they are a story in themselves. And you also are in the similar. You see, seeing you and laughing gives me energy. Because how can you do all these things? So you get motivated.
Om Namah Shivaya. See, Lord Shiva, during Arudra dance, he actually danced out of happiness, and he's written, you don't have to eat, you'll get energy. And that's why the energy center in Geneva has got Lord Nataraja's statue, where during the Arudra Darshanam is that when he dances out of happiness, in December end it comes. And I think I go and do Lord Shiva's darshan. And the Shivling is the size of the atom. In the atom, the particles move like this. So you cannot sit at one place. So I have 3 computers, I run around and I jump around and I do dance, I do exercise. And I think I probably, Chaitra has seen me working till night 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock. And sometimes I know she has seen fellows crying at 1 o'clock. And it looks inhuman to me, myself, when I talk about it. I still remember, I won't tell the name, somebody cried at 1 o'clock in the morning because I don't leave them if they don't write the notes properly. And they will say, I'll write tomorrow. No, I said, you have to do it by 2 a.m. and go. So I think, and 2 a.m. we'll go to dance. And then I'll dance till 4 o'clock, maybe 1 o'clock.
Everybody, don't pressurize God. Everybody can't do the same. You see,
no, I agree. No, that's why in that one of the talk I said, you cannot copy, but you have to imbibe and decide what you can do. See, that's why the whole this Kung Fu Panda movie is, you don't know your own strength. Lalit, you also can do. I think the lesson from this movie, which I learned from Rishi Bharadwaj, Chaitra knows I think you also know him. He's a veterinary surgeon in Gurgaon now. And he only told me to see this movie. I mean, Kung Fu Panda himself didn't know his strength. And he was playful. And he was working with his adopted father in the noodle shop. And he said, this is not my job. And I still remember, 82 to 84, I was doing intracapsular cataract as a postgraduate. And when I went 84 April, in first month, Dr. Badrinath gave me vitrectomy. And which is I can't believe it. I did it. And from 84, I'm doing vitreous surgery, which is how many years? 29 years? No, 30.
The other example I keep giving is about Mahipal, because I keep telling, in fact, in one of the short videos I prepared for Center for Sight, he is the first one to enter Center for Sight and last one to leave. So all these fellows and all junior consultants, whoever joins, so here is an inspiration here, right in front of you.
Correct.
He will see yesterday, I don't know, yesterday 58 appointments, baki walk-in bhi hai. So, and more than 25 surgeries. And today he's sitting here. So what I'm saying
No,
is,
he's fine. See,
what I'm saying is, you see all the junior, if I can learn, everybody can learn. Because you see, entering consistently, it's not that, like I have seen 8:45 entry because my OT days clash with him, and 8:45 first case, 9 o'clock first case out. So it's a clockwise, this thing running machine.
Lalit, in Shankar Netralaya, we used to work from morning 7:30 to night 1. And then 7:30 you have to finish the dressing, 7:55 discuss with Dr. Badinath. So after my marriage in 87, I used to go home at 9. One day he called me and said, Nati, you have become lazy. And then Sunday, we have to come. And he will tell that boy, Narsia was there. He'll say, call Nati. He'll be somewhere here. And he'll ask me, did you remember that patient we saw 2 months back? And I'll tell the name because we didn't have computer that time. We all had a medical record. So I think we learn daily. Chaitra, you have to tell something anecdotal. What you saw in our OT.
Yeah, I got into a lot of trouble. That's all I know. No, and I do agree about his working late in the day because he had the additional responsibility of dropping me home. Because all the fellows would stay there till he finishes OPD, see, and the entire OPD and go. But the one thing that is there, whether it is at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. or 12, midnight, his enthusiasm is the same. At least towards the patients, we would get into trouble, fellows. But with the patients, he would remain the same, always.
Badhiya, Nati, great. Chalo, we have finished in time.
I think he's a fountainhead of energy, but I think a lot of people sitting here are people who are alcoholics. I think if we're Nati, Santosh, Rashmin, Lalit, Arup, Namrata, I don't know. Ajay, I don't know how hard you work, but all of the people who are actually successful have really put in very, very long hours of work and obviously working hard and working smart also.
Correct. Working smart.
I think it's from Dr. Mahipal, one has to learn to work smart. Hard, a lot of people work, but hard and smart, very few people work.
That's what I'm saying, sir. We work hard, but we don't work smart.
Because
I think you have to work with passion.
So we work very hard. We work very hard because we are not that smart. So that is the reason why,
No, but you work with passion.
Much more than what.
So I think what is important is that at least I feel in retina, Dr. Lalit would agree. It's not like you can't be clockwork like what Dr. Mahipal does. So I think we probably chose the wrong specialty.
नहीं specialty की बात नहीं है, discipline की बात कर रहा हूँ. Discipline.
Discipline.
See what we learned from Mahipal or discipline. Time पे पहुँचना और काम शुरू. वो कहता तू बैठ जा, अपने पेशेंट आएंगे, तू बैठ तो सही यहाँ पे. तो बात वो है. So discipline होना ना, laziness. But in any case, I think we should finish off because compliment Santosh Panawar and his team for continuing to do EyeShala for I think 5th year, Santosh.
6th year.
So I remember for 6 years he helped me out.
Give some comments, Santosh.
So I have a panel discussion coming up. I'm absorbing everything. I'm learning.
No. You have to teach the youngsters. You learn, I know, but you teach now from the youngsters.
No, but hats off to your hall coordinators also, Rolika, Tanvi. You see, starting in time and finishing in time.
Yeah, and they called me up and said,
panel discussion.
Yeah, that is what I am appreciating. Thank you so much.
And thanks to all of you for being master chefs to the respective Kung Fu Pandas. All of you have been so.
Yeah, I would actually once again I would like to thank personally. I would thank to Dr. Natarajan. Like you are like just talked as a mentor and as an inspirational. I mean, I personally just took for myself. So I really enjoyed your session. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would also once again thank to chairpersons for chairing the session and the speakers for enlightening.